Hello guys, full time at the Etihad. Manchester City 1, Arsenal 0. I've just watched Mikel Arteta's interview after the game. He's extremely disappointed. We'll come on to that. I am relatively relaxed. It would have been great to beat Man City, and to be honest, this was a close game. It's a game where we could have edged it if we'd maybe taken some of our chances in the first half, but we haven't. We've gone out. Always a shame to lose a game, as unfamiliar a feeling as that is this season. Always a shame to go out the FA Cup, but if there was ever a season where I think Arsenal will be able to live with that outcome, it's probably this one. The Premier League is just so important in everybody's thoughts. And of course there's the Europa League to consider as well. European trophy, I don't think Mikel Arteta will take that one particularly lightly. He made 6 changes today, which is probably telling. And for me, the most telling moment of the match was when in the final stages, needing a goal to equalise and stay in the cup, Bukayo Saka came off for Martin Odegaard. I think if Arteta really considered this, do or die, must win, there's no way Saka comes off that pitch. And listen, he didn't have a great game. Nathan Ake defended against him brilliantly. He wasn't his usual self. He'd taken a bit of a kick in at times too. I still think in a crunch game where everything's on the line, he stays out there. The fact he didn't, I think, tells you a little bit about Mikel Arteta's thinking. But nevertheless, despite the 6 changes, I think Arsenal, certainly in the first half, I'd say they matched City, were probably better than City, certainly created the better chances in the game. In the second half, things changed. City came back into it. They had a lot more of the ball, had more threat. I think Thomas Partey coming off at half-time was a big factor. You know, keeping Partey on the pitch is pretty integral in these big games against the likes of City and Liverpool and other teams of that nature. Was that substitution pre-planned? At this point, I don't know. I desperately hope so, because he is so important to this team. Obviously, Mohamed El-Neni is out. For how long? We're not quite sure as yet, but it seems like a significant injury. Sambi Lokonga came on for Partey, and I think the gap between those two players looks pretty wide. I feel like some of Arteta's post-match comments about Arsenal switching off defensively were aimed at Lokonga. It just feels increasingly like maybe he hasn't got a future at the club. So it's really important Arsenal get someone else in that position in what remains of the window. Caicedo is the #1 target at this point in time. We'll come on to him. What else to say about the game? I thought Trossard did really well in the first half. Produced a good save from the goalkeeper, was a threat down that left-hand side. Looked sharp again, looks like a good addition. I think Matt Turner had a really good game, carried on his good form from the Europa League and from the World Cup. Would have been really disappointed to miss out on the Carabao game against Brighton where Karl Heinz started. Delighted to start this one, and I think he acquitted himself really well. I think he showed that if he's required in what remains of the season, he can step in and he can contribute. He seems to improve on the ball, maybe not as comfortable as Ramsdale, but comfortable enough playing against a very organised City press. And I thought his handling, his coming off the line for crosses, shot stopping, all really good tonight. No chance on the goal, which really did squeeze into that far corner. Yeah, it was interesting. Arteta used the breadth of the squad, really. I mean, the first 11 did play. They just didn't all play at the same time. We finished the game with a very strong 11 and had a couple of chances late on where moments in the box, the breaks might have gone our way. There are lessons we can learn from this game. I think you can learn that the first goal against City is really important, because once City get that first goal, they can hit the snooze button on a match. Honestly, they can put it to sleep like that with simple possession play. It's not fun to watch. It makes you fall asleep. It makes the players fall asleep. Don't let them have that comfort. Don't let them have that ease. As I said, keep that physical spine on the pitch. Gabriel, Saliba, Partey. I thought Gabriel and Saliba in the second half handled Haaland much better than Holding in the first. It's not to be too critical of Holding. I just think athletically those two can live with him better. Partey in front of them, so important for his defensive positioning. In the first half at times he drops right in front of that back line. I think Sambi struggles with that aspect of the game. I don't think he's got the experience or the know-how at this point in time. But the main thing to learn is that Arsenal don't really have a great deal to fear. I think Arsenal showed enough tonight, and this is why I think it's a reasonable outcome, that they can go into the league games and really feel like they can hurt Man City. They can live with Man City, they can compete with them. with their best 11 on the pitch from the start, they can compete with Manchester City for sure, especially at the Emirates Stadium, which has become such a fortress for this team. And that was really important tonight. You know, City were probably favourites. Arsenal made 6 changes. That made them even stronger favourites. But to lose heavily or to show a big gap between the teams might have handed them some kind of psychological advantage. I don't really think there was any psychological advantage to City tonight. I think Arsenal will come away feeling like, we could have got something there. And that will prove a motivating factor. They will know they can get something. In both games against City. And yeah, they should approach it without too much fear. Respect, yes. Fear, no. Let's get on to Caicedo. There's a few days remaining in the window and Arsenal made a 60 million bid for him today. It was rejected out of hand by Brighton. Their position is the player's not for sale. Well, the player's trying to take matters into his own hand. He's just released a statement on Instagram and Twitter saying, you know, he loves the fans, but he hopes they appreciate the fact that he wants to move. This is the right thing for his career. It'll be a club record sale. Well, let's see how Brighton respond to that. My suspicion is they won't take too kindly to it. It may just make them dig their heels in. But if he's burnt his bridges with the club, with the manager was relatively relaxed about things in his press conference today. But, you know, a statement like that is going to certainly rub the executives up the wrong way. Will it make them say, do you know what, you can go for the right price? Or will it make them say, you know what, you're going to stick it out here till the end of the season? Arsenal needs something in that position. So they need to establish pretty quickly if there is a deal to be done there with Brighton. And if not, maybe they need to move on and look at something else. 60 million bids so far. I think you're going to have to be looking at least 80 to get a deal done at this point in time. It'd be a great signing if they can do it. Arsenal do need to strengthen the midfield. I think he would add something. The clock's ticking. Certainly one to watch in what remains of the season. Arsenal have a big game. Sorry, Brighton have a big game against Liverpool on Sunday. Will Caicedo play? A lot of eyes will be on that situation. I'll leave it there for now. Speak to you all soon, guys. Enjoy your weekend. Bye-bye.